June 7th, 1944, near St. Mary-Glees. I am Oberleutnant Klaus Müller, 709th Infantry Division. That morning, I watched them come ashore one after another, endless, unstoppable. I counted 117 identical machines in 2 hours, each one fresh, each one perfect. Their engines sounded like a heartbeat. Steady, mechanical, American. I realized we were not watching an army land. We were watching a factory arrive. Technical officer, motor, transport, fuel, repairs. My duty was to keep our trucks alive, mostly old Opel Blitz, half their engines rebuilt from scrap. They said the Atlantic Wall would hold, that the sea and the bocage would slow any invasion. Rommel himself told us the terrain was our ally. He did not count on those machines. Normandy was not the desert, nor the Russian steppe. It was a maze of hedgerows, narrow sunken lanes, each one a trap. Our trucks could barely turn, our tanks too heavy. Every road could be blocked by one burning vehicle. We believed this land would fight for us. The invasion had begun the day before. 156,000 Allied troops across 5 beaches. We held 380,000 men along the coast or so, Berlin believed. In truth, we were thin, scattered, exhausted. The Americans took Utah Beach with little resistance, only 200 dead. Omaha, we thought, would save us. It did not. At first, I thought it was coincidence, a few captured vehicles, perhaps. But they kept coming, line after line, each identical, same color, same markings, same precision. Every 30 jeeps, a new ship arrived. It was like watching a factory unload itself onto the beach. Their engines all sounded the same, a low, confident hum. The Willys Go Devil, 60 horsepower, 4-wheel drive. Built in Ohio,
Keep it
Dearborn,
moving!
And shipped by the thousands. One vehicle every 90 seconds. That was the rhythm of their war. We built 50,000 Kubelwagen in 5 years. They built 640,000 Jeeps in 4. We prized craftsmanship. They mastered duplication. We had believed this land would trap them, but they did not follow the roads. They made new ones. Our trucks crawled through mud, burned more fuel than they carried. Every bridge we relied on was too small, every road too narrow. Their vehicles, smaller, lighter, everywhere at once. The Jeep was not a car, it was an idea. Vehicles, like ammunition. They treat complex machines as expendable tools. Use, replace, move on. We repair, they replenish. For every vehicle we lost, we filed reports, waited weeks. For every vehicle they lost, another appeared within the hour. We were fighting a rhythm, not an army. That morning, I understood, we were no longer fighting men, but an assembly line. Back home, we built engines like instruments, polished, balanced, touched by craftsmen. Here, they built them like bullets, one every 90 seconds. 640,000 by war's end. We built 50,000 Kubelwagen in 5 years. They built that many in a month. 60 horsepower from a 4-cylinder block. Nothing elegant, but reliable. And everything interchangeable. Gearbox to gearbox, plug to plug, belt to belt. A Ford transmission would fit a Willys like it was born there. We designed precision. They designed replacement. They predicted failure before it happened. Spare parts moved by mathematics, statistical wear, expected breakage. We prayed machines would last. They assumed they wouldn't and planned accordingly. By the 3rd day, their vehicles were everywhere. Reconnaissance in the hedgerows, artillery observers on the ridges, supplies on every lane. They turned the battlefield into a highway that moved. Their fire came faster than our counter-battery could answer. One call, one code, and steel arrived from nowhere. Before we could return fire, the caller had moved on in a Jeep. Each Jeep was whatever the moment required. Messenger, tractor, ambulance, radio. One chassis, infinite roles. At first I thought it was numbers, but it was design. When they built the Jeep, they built a system that could fight, move, and repair itself at speed. In Africa, we dragged crates by hand, prayed for access. A broken spring cost us days. The Americans repaired on the move cranes, trucks, fuel everything in motion. In Africa, they learned logistics. In Normandy, they perfected it. Then I saw what our ideology could not explain. Black soldiers driving, repairing, running motor pools efficient, respected. Our theories collapsed before their efficiency. They improvised without waiting for permission. A Jeep became a gun truck, then an ambulance, then a command post. We would have filed requests. They welded solutions. We treated machines like sacred objects. They treated them like tools. When a tool broke, another took its place. Emotion removed, motion restored. Abundance did not make them soft. It made them fast. Before they entered the war, their War Department set an impossible exam. A light scout car, 4-wheel drive, carry 3 men, mount a gun, replace the horse design, build, test in 49 days. Bantam birthed the idea. Willys gave it power. Ford gave it numbers. They standardized war. 2 companies, 1 blueprint, universal parts. A soldier in France could use a gearbox shipped for the Pacific. We had experts. They had interchangeability. Under fire, in an hour, the engine lived again. We would have needed a week in a factory. They fought as a system. When one cog failed, the machine did not stop. In their world, war was a process to manage. In ours, it was an art to endure. They built adequacy multiplied by infinity. We built perfection multiplied by scarcity. By mid-June, the reports came faster than we could read them. From the 352nd Infantry and the 21st Panzer, the same line, written again and again, Jeep everywhere. They were in every hedgerow, every village lane, every farm path. We lost track of where the front began and ended. You could destroy 10, 20, and 20 more appeared before dusk. It was like fighting a flood with a shovel. The younger soldiers started calling them Die Ameisen, the ants. They moved in swarms, vanished, then appeared behind us again. Every hill we defended in the morning had a jeep on it by noon. By the 5th day, 54,000 vehicles had landed. By the 24th, 150,000. 1 in 4 was a jeep. A storm destroyed their harbor, yet the flow did not stop. They turned beaches into ports, mud into roads. Our engineer drew blueprints. Theirs built reality. We burned oats. They burned gasoline. We measured quality by rarity. They measured victory by volume. They welded blades to their bumpers, called them rhino cutters. In a week, the bocage that Rommel called impregnable became an inconvenience. We wrote doctrine in books. They wrote theirs with torches and welding rods. Our eyes could no longer tell where industry ended and the army began. Their machines were so many, they ceased to be machines. They were movement itself. We fought scarcity with pride. They fought abundance with organization. It was no contest. When their breakthrough came, it came on wheels. Patton's army did not march, it rolled. 60 miles in 2 days. While our panzers fought the mud, they outran our maps. By the time we planned an ambush, they were already 10 miles ahead. They no longer advanced like men. They advanced like production itself, continuous, tireless, self-feeding. We had perfected vehicles. They had perfected the act of producing them. We perfected vehicles. They perfected production itself. And that was the end of our art. By August, Patton's army had reached the Seine. Germany's art of war had met America's art of production. The war ended not with an explosion, but with silence and the sound of engines that were not ours. We lost not in battle, but in the factory. Every night I heard that same hum, the heartbeat of the machine that had beaten us. It was not the gun, not the tank, not even the plane. It was the rhythm of production. The American sergeant who guarded us was 20 years old. He taught me to change a Jeep filter without speaking a word of German. For him, maintenance was instinct. For me, it was revelation. We once believed discipline could overcome deficiency. That courage could outlast material. But courage breaks, and steel does not. After the war, we rebuilt. And when we did, we built not as artisans, but as imitators. The Americans had taught us mass production, the power of enough. Their Jeep became our teacher. From it, we learned that engineering alone is not strength. Strength is the ability to repeat excellence a million times. The Jeep was crude. The Beetle was elegant. But beneath the steel, they shared the same soul. Simplicity, repetition, reliability. In the factory, every worker matters less than the work. In the battlefield, every soldier matters more than the plan. But modern war belongs to the plan. They taught us that in modern war, the factory is more important than the battlefield. We thought we were soldiers. They showed us we were workers in a smaller factory, and theirs was infinite. The Jeep was never just a vehicle. It was a message. The age of handcrafted war had ended. The age of industrial war had begun. We thought we were engineers of machines, but they were engineers of victory. Through my eyes, Normandy was not just the beginning of the end for Germany. It was the beginning of something far greater. A new kind of war, fought not in trenches or skies, but in foundries and assembly lines, where the sound of victory was not gunfire, but the hum of machines. To us, war had been a craft, a matter of precision, training, tradition. To them, it was a process, a matter of speed, scale, and substitution. We polished our weapons. They multiplied theirs. We built perfection. They built momentum. They understood something we did not, that an army is only as strong as the hands that build it. Their soldiers were extensions of their factories. Every crate, every part, every jeep, a piece of home shipped across an ocean. The jeep became more than a machine. It was the face of the arsenal of democracy, the proof that America could turn blueprints into armies and engines into empires. In every bolt and every wheel, there was a philosophy. Quantity is quality when time is life. The age of handcrafted war had ended. The age of industrial war had begun. We thought we were soldiers, but they showed us we were only workers in a smaller factory of destruction. Arsenal of democracy, dedicated to the men who built the war they never fought and the peace they never saw.